Hey folks, welcome to the live stream. Today we're going to talk about Hillman, Hillman State Park, what it is, and what I did there. Um, Waiting for the actual thing to kick in here. Da, 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 da. But waiting for the actual thing. There we go. But I took a hike at Hillman State Park, and first thing about that park is it's not really a state park; it's a game land that's actually run by the Park Service. Because if you when you go up and you pull into it, the one road I pulled into, it says Hillman State. No, it says State Game Lands. I think 253 and Hillman State Park. It's one and the same. The other thing about it, there's no amenities there. There's no restrooms. The other thing is there's a pretty decent trail complex, but you're not going to find any shelters, no office. In fact, the office for Hillman State Park is actually in Raccoon State Park, which is just north of it in Beaver County. If you come just south of Raccoon Creek State Park, you go just south of that, across the Washington border. That's where Hillman's at, and Hillman was donated to the park, I believe, in 1969. Um, After they got the coal out of it, and then they did a reclamation project on it, which took a number of years. But if you look at it on the map, it's going to say un, like un it'll say UNDEV, like undeveloped. There's not really that much there. There's roads to get into it. Now you can go drive around it, some dirt roads and paved roads, and once you get into it, you can find trails all over the place. If you go back to the last video I posted, there was a I left a link there, and you can go and get the map for the park and the history of the park there. But some of the things I found are some just straight hiking trails. There's a lot of multi-use trails. And multi-use, I mean equine, mountain bike, and hiking. The other thing I found is there are tons, and I mean tons of fields everywhere. Hey, C. Dean. Hey, Carol. There are fields everywhere. So I'm definitely planning on going back there, and I'm taking the big lens because there's places there that if I position myself right, I could be making 1,000 yard or at least 500 yard um, photo shots. So I mean, this place has some real possibility. Um, and if I can get some decent shots with the lens that I got, it's completely manual. There is no stabilization control. So this thing you have to pretty much mount on a tripod. You actually mount it by the lens, not by the camera. And once you do that, then what you have to do is use my camera has a remote. I actually use remote to operate the camera. But there are plenty of places there. Oh, okay. There are plenty of places there for shots like that. It's kind of like the best way I can describe it is the area that I was in is kind of like high chaparral country, where it's you're walking and you're doing a lot of this, but there's no like way up, no way down. It's like this. You're constantly up and down. It's like it's just roll. You get up on top, it just rolls. There's also like 4 or 5 ponds along the trail that one of the trails I was on too. Um, I missed one, but I got the other one. So which there's one, two, three, one, two, three, four. Yeah, four, and I missed one of them. So, but very, very interesting hike nonetheless. Though, we'll start with I'm gonna pop the map up here real quick. As soon as I get this open, so yeah, because what I did is I started on a trail called Abby's Trail. And then once I started on Abby's Trail, there we go, that's what I'm looking for. I walked a good bit up Abby's Trail till I hit my first clearing. And once I hit the first clearing, let me see. No, it's actually the second clearing. So we're gonna go up here a ways. It's actually underneath the you see that legend? Where I made a turn into the clearing is you can see kind of like right behind the legend there before I started heading back south in that clearing. I hit that road. But from Hall Road there, in that first swing on the east side of that, on the east side of the site going up, that's all Abby's Trail in there. Very nice walking. It's a single track. It's not like a road. It's a single track. Whereas the trail itself is only about 2 to 3 feet wide. 3 feet as wide as point, and the trail itself does not have too much fall line to it. What I mean by fall lines, either it goes straight up the hill or straight down the hill. You're always going across the hill at an angle, or turning up the hill, or what have you. So there's very little fall line on this. And the reason that they do this, and I explained it in the video, is with that turn or going across it, and when they go across, if you look at the trail tread's actually tipped to the downhill side, so the water can actually shed off it and go down below it. There's a little bit of mud, but even with that quote unquote little bit of mud, the how can I put this? The tread itself is actually in very good shape. I had a couple muddy spots here and there, but most of it was pretty much dry and hard. So a lot of good stuff there. Also, there is a ton of pine trees. Now, I didn't have a chance to get what kind of pine it was. I thought it was red pine, but I've seen three needles coming out instead of 2 needles coming out. But it's like fatwood galore in there. So I think the next time I go up there, because I wasn't even looking for any resources, I think the next time I go up there, I may actually look for resources next time I go up. Also, I noticed that there are a ton, and I mean a ton, of poplar trees up there. Now, I didn't say tulip poplar. I was more like your aspen trees. Your quaking aspens, which is part of the poplar family, your large tooth aspens, which is part of the poplar family, all those. Plenty of those to be seen up there. And as I said, I do mean a ton of them to be seen up there. So I could get more than one resource there if I go looking for it. But after I came off the Abby's Trail, those clearings you see, like that first one you see that where the trail goes up behind the legend up there in the upper right hand corner and comes back down. Those clearings were at every bit of, I'd say, at least 80 to 100 yards wide. I mean, those things were wide, and those are just the cut deals. Some of these other ones that run around over here, wide as a day is long. I mean, you could sit there and see forever out across there. So with that, there's plenty of opportunities for camera work, and as I said, with the trail system, depending on what you take there for hiking, you can go anywhere you want. Basically, I've not seen anything on the map or seen anything else while I was walking around, it said you can't walk here. So I mean, it's wherever you go. This whole thing for walking is fair game. Now for mountain bikes and horses, it's different. You have to kind of stick to your trails, but there are a ton of trails that are multi-use that you can do that on. So lots of stuff there to do. Okay, I'm gonna jump out of this. Get back to. Oh, geez, I thought I. My bad. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. Okay, now we're back. I thought I had it up. No, I'm not cool. I'm sorry. This is the only thing I do here is I do YouTube, and that's about it. But let's try this map again. Yeah, because I thought I had it up on the screen and I didn't. That's my bad there. So I'm gonna pop this out so I can actually see it better. Okay, let's try this again. Now, if you look, the legendaries in the upper left hand, I mean upper right hand corner. If you start on Hall Road there, that'll be the southernmost. On all my place marks in this is just untitled place marks. So I use those so I can mark my trail. But if you go to southernmost unmarked, the southernmost pin there, and you start off kind of like southeast, you come down and the trail goes up behind the legend and comes back down. Those are that first part's the Abbey's Trail. When you start coming back down south, that big swath in there, that thing's about 100 yards wide. You go to that other field. Now there's like a little island here, but this other field, it's probably about 200 yards wide at the narrow part. You get over to the other side, and that thing gets like 400 or 500 yards wide. I mean, it is huge. But there are plenty of things to do here. One of the big mistakes I made though is I didn't take a map with me. That's my own dumb fault. Because I seen that there was a map that was built in to my GPS, and I was following it. And I'm like, okay, we'll just run this up here because I thought this would take me in the direction I kind of wanted to go before I started cutting west. And I think I followed it just a little bit too long. And that's why I ended up there because I actually wanted to go up. Oh, on that Abbey's Trail, you come up, you see where that road kind of cuts across, like after that first turn before you hit that straight stretch. I kind of wanted to cut across there and go across that, and I missed that, and I was like way up here, and I had to come back down to it. But all in all, very interesting hike. And let me get out of this here. This is driving me nuts. Okay, exit full screen. Oh, there's nothing wrong with that, Carol. I know somebody actually rides mules and actually barrel races a mule. It doesn't do too bad either. Usually ends up in about the 3D out of 4. So, but another thing I noticed, like walking the roads. Now I did run into some ice, and there's some shaded. It was still cold. Nothing was completely melted yet, so I did run into some ice here and there, which was to be expected. But the road itself, because the one area you watched the video where you kind of get down and start going past the lakes, that was actually an old roadbed. I think that was part of the old haul road that they used to take the coal out on. And I walked that thing for ways, and it actually loops around and comes back to the park. Comes back and you hit it like a little like gas line. It goes back up to the parking lot. And that road was just immaculate. I mean, you could tell there's the game commission and I guess the Rangers drove on it a little bit. but it wasn't really rutted up. I mean, you can see like where there's bare dirt, where there's like tire tracks, but it didn't. It wasn't rutting up at all. In fact, on the one end, it was just like all shale. So I mean, that was like bone dry. But I'm definitely going to be going back here soon. I don't know about this weekend, but I'm definitely going to be going back here soon. This weekend, I may head out someplace else. Another place I've been wanting to get on video, and I just haven't been able to. But Hillman, though, very interesting place. um, yeah, that's all I really have on that. To be honest with you, um, what did I get out of it? God, I did one about. I think from what the thing said there, about almost 5 miles. So I took about a 5 mile hike. Um, didn't find any ruins. That's one thing I was looking for. I didn't find any ruins. In fact, didn't even really find anywhere to go looking for any. Everything there was like kind of strip mine. It looked like they took everything back out with them, which is very odd. Um, most strip mining operations, once you're done with the mining operation, they kind of reclaim everything. They leave the equipment there. There's a couple places I can show you where the equipment's been sitting there for eons. It costs less to leave it there and buy new stuff than it does actually try to tear the stuff back down, move it, and put it back together someplace else. In fact, a lot of this equipment you couldn't even do that with. Um, one place up by my dad's buddy's place, there's an old steam shovel just out in the middle of nowhere. They used to be a strip mine, but it was easier just to leave the steam shovel there than it was to get it back out. But I think the next time I go to Hillman, though, there's a couple other places I'm alluding back to what I kind of started on. I kind of strayed off of it. Is the one big mistake I made with the place though is I kind of took it too big of a chunk. So I'm going to take that take a smaller chunk of it and actually really start learning that chunk real well before I move on to the next spot. And as I said, in the area I was at, it was almost nondescript because you never really went down a good distance or you never really went up a good distance. In fact, toward the end of the hike, I found the only thing I could really use as a landmark, which was a stream that was down over the hill. There's like a little valley, and I kind of found the headwaters of that stream. And there's like a little pond there. It's still frozen over, but there's a little pond there. And that, if you keep that thing on one arm or the other, and you walk it up, around, and back again, you're going to end up where you started from, because that stream kind of flows down through there. You end up crossing it to get back out. So that's about the only real landmark I've seen in there. Everything else until I got to that point was very nondescript. Um, they're just up and down, and one field that almost looks like the next, looks like the next, looks like the next. Um, in those fields, I only seen one thing. It's kind of like a draw going up through there. That's a field on both sides. I could use that as a landmark too if I find that. But as I said, it's getting to it. Everything looks the same getting to it, so you don't know. It could be over the next little rise. It could be a mile and a half away. There's spots up there like the one field I was walking in. It's just like you can just see and see and see. In fact, when I found that draw in the fields, which is a draw is like a small valley, I started and I walked about 400 yards and it looked like I was looking straight out to the other side. It looked like one big field. Got the optical illusion, and I was walking towards trees about 700, no, actually closer, about 1,200 yards away. just this little group of trees, and like way out in the distance, it only looked about that big around. And as I kept walking, and I kind of got up to the crest, I seen it actually drop down and went back up, then went to those trees. So the optical illusion also is another thing you have to keep in mind, especially in an area like that. Um, the GPS still worked great because once I kind of found myself on the GPS and seen that Abbey's trail wasn't taking me to where I wanted to go, I was able to readjust everything and just like, okay, I know I want to go this way, so I'll go this way a ways, cut back down, find where I need to be, and go again. So, which that's exactly what I did, and I kind of found where I was going. Um, Another thing I did find though is you could tell it's a coal area because I was finding pieces of coal that's still kind of pushing up out of the ground there. So that's another resource I could grab. I could grab while I'm there. Any questions so far? Yeah, if you haven't checked out the video that I did the Hillman State Park hike, check that out because I talk about some things. Also, kind of talk about a little bit about the depression I had. That's why I didn't really even post any videos this thing for like 3 months. Is by the time I had time to myself, it's dark outside and kind of hard to shoot in the dark, along with doing anything else. So I think that's half the reason why I started the second channel. I haven't really been able to get anything on the second channel because I can't really get the camera set up the way I want it. It just looks like crap. But I think I figured out what I'm going to do there as well. So I'll keep you guys posted on that once I work out a couple other details. But the thing with that Hillman State Park, though, in fact, I want to go into something here. Where's my downloads? And it's not giving me the downloads. So I have it in documents. No, I do not. Okay, never mind that. Had an idea. That didn't quite work. But I was going to kind of show you some of the areas the next area I was going to go into, but since I can't find the map and it's going to it'll actually take me away from this live stream to go find it and then come back to it. So I don't really want to do that. So get this all caught up. There we go. And I don't know why my YouTube stream always seems to be running way behind my StreamYard stream. But there's a couple other things. There's actually in the state park a model airplane airport. So you can go up there with your RC planes and fly your RC planes around. Which brings me to, I'd like to know about possibly flying a drone there. A lot of state parks won't let you fly a drone in their airspace. But I didn't see anything that said you can or you cannot. So I want to dig into that because I do have a drone that I want to learn how to fly and use that as part of my photography tools, along with a video tool. So be looking for that. And 1 second. So I was gonna sneeze. Sorry. There was because I think this area with the drone, I could better search the area out, because my drone actually uses my phone screen as when it looks at the camera. I can actually save the video on my phone. Then I come here, I slap it on the computer, and I throw it up on YouTube. So there's also that possibility. So there's no amenities out there, but the possibilities of this place are endless. Um, Also, one thing I want to dig into a little bit more is I've seen something about camping there. Now, with the camping part of it, I'm not too sure exactly how that would work. But it could be a possibility of once you get out there and start doing your thing. There we go, my channel. You may just if you find a spot, you can only be there for so long, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. In fact, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and so bear with me here. One, okay, I'm muted anyway, so good deal. Got that paused. I'm actually going to pull up the PDF here. But I forgot what I was going to say. But go over a little bit of the pamphlet on this thing. And I mean, the number of trails, and they're marked from easy to most difficult. So there's a trail there for everybody. Okay. Okay, the state game land is 432. It is a 3,654-acre undeveloped park, also known as State Game Land 432. It consists of rolling terrain dominated by deciduous and coniferous forests, shrubs, grassy fields, and steep slopes. There are no facilities or restrooms in the park. The Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, the DCNR, and the Pennsylvania Game Commission work in partnership to manage the state park for public access and outdoor recreation. The Pennsylvania Game Commission is responsible for administration and operation of the park. And okay, we're going to look at this. There's 34.2 miles of trails. The trails are open to horses, mountain biking, and hiking, and are blazed red. Please note the PGC maintains some access roadways through habitat management areas. These roadways may not be open to horses and biking. Read all posted signage. Trails are closed to bicycles and horses during fall and spring big game seasons, except Sundays. Please contact the PGC or Raccoon Creek State Park for specific dates, as they change yearly. But there's a ton of multi-use trails in this place. Let me see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There's 19 trails here. So, with 19 trails, as I said, and they rank from more difficult, easiest, most difficult, and that was the Browse Trail. That's 3 miles long. Um, there's actually a trail here. It's a tenth of a mile long. It's called Vista Trail. So that trail, I think I may go try to find. That kind of piques my interest here a little bit. The history. James F. Hillman, president of Harmon Creek Coal Corporation, donated 3,654 acres of land to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for outdoor recreational purposes in 1969. At that time, the donation was the largest single land gift for a state park in the country. Before opening to the public, the former coal mining site underwent extensive reclamation to restore habitat and address abandoned mine drainage issues. From 1970 through 1977, work included filling, grading, erosion control, soil treatment of fly ash, and additional plantings. For more information on Hillman State Park, please visit, and it gives the website here. And radio controlled flying. Doesn't say anything in here about camping, but maybe I'll find out someplace else. The K. Leroy Irvis Radio Control Model Airport is operated and maintained by the Greater Pittsburgh Aero Radio Control Society. All users must have an FCC license, maintain and display a current AMA membership, and pre-register with Raccoon Creek State Park to utilize the facility. Contact State Park office at 72 for more information to pre-register. Okay, and I've got the map up here. So let's go back to StreamYard. Share screen. Share the screen. Application window. That's the one I'm looking for. Yes, that's the one I'm looking for. Back here. There we go. There's the map. But there's that big open void in the middle of it. I'm not exactly sure what that is, and I don't even want to go monkeying with it. But I was up here off this Hall Road. I did this Abbey's Trail over here, and I kind of ended up. It doesn't show the fields in here, but I mean, there are tons and tons and tons of different places to go in this park. And I kind of stayed toward the central part of the park itself. The park goes way off in all different directions. But I definitely want to try to find that Vista Trail. That kind of, as I said, that kind of piques my interest. Okay, again, I say, anybody have any questions? Because that's about all I have on that. I thought this was going to last a little bit longer, and yeah, there's not much going on there. But as I said, this is my first visit there too, so a lot to do and see there. So, where to go from here, right? Let me close some of this stuff here because this thing's starting to work. I don't know if you can hear it through the microphone, but the fan's kind of start trying to kick in here. But yeah, I mean, this beautiful place. And if you watch the video of the Hillman State Park hike, I actually put the photos in there that I took while I was there. This time of year, You go in the woods, everything is going to be drab. You can't get around it. Everything is drab. I took pictures anyway, just because there's something there that caught my eye, especially the shape of the aspen trees with no leaves on them. Those things are just spectacular. Huge aspen trees, or huge pot. Yeah, aspen trees. Sorry, but the other thing I was looking at with this is the potential for, especially for photography. The potential of this place is just huge, absolutely huge. So, as I said, I want to go check out that vista too. I'm not exactly sure where that's going to be, so I think after I'm done with the video, I may jump back in the map there and try to find that. But a couple other things I did realize on this I probably will realize this no matter where I went. I took my sling pack. Now the way I have my sling pack set up, which I may actually come off my sling pack and get a regular pack again, but I have like just a basic 10Cs except for a tarp. So I'm thinking about blowing my day hiking kit apart, put some more stuff in it, then take that with me. Kind of leave in what I got now, but I'm gonna carry a couple other things. Like I have that like I showed you guys last week, the little titanium stove, um, the tarp, um, and if I take my cameras, well, see, if I take the camera, I may be taking my photography bag, which I may try to find a bigger photography bag so I can fit this stuff into it as well. But if I can't, I'm going to hang my camera. I'll find a place to put my lens in that pack, but take some other things with me. Now, why especially with the tarp and stuff with the camera, not so much. I'm a fair weather shooter. I don't like shooting in the rain, but if I did happen to get some rain, that'll keep me protected. But the other thing that tarp's going to do is I'm going to be able to control my light. Um, Especially when you're doing photography, if you can kind of get something over top of you and you can kind of control the light that camera's getting, you can take better pictures than if the camera's just out in the elements. I won't say out in the elements, but out in the light itself. So that's going to help me with that. The other thing I may be taking is my stool. I have a folding stool over there that I can throw over my shoulder. I'll probably take that with me as well, just because if I go out there to take pictures, I'm not going to be doing to take wildlife pictures. I'm not going to be doing too much walking around. In fact, I'm probably going to stay put in one area or close to one area just to see what happens. The one thing I would love to do, except I don't know when I can make it down there, is I would actually love to put a trail cam in a couple places just to see what's going where and about what time while there's still light out. If I know that, I know what time to be at that spot because I'm going to be able to establish a pattern. But being as that is a public park and trail cams ain't cheap, I'm afraid the trail cam may grow legs on me, if you know what I mean. So there's that potential. The other thing I found with the ponds, hunting aside, I may try getting back into bass fishing. So I may talk to Raccoon State Park. I'm like, is there any fish in this ponds up there? Because if there is, I'm going to go bass fishing there. That's what I'm going to do because there's plenty of cover for bass in that I could see sticking up out of the water, like logs that rotted off. You can see like branches sticking up out of the water. stuff like that. So plenty of cover for bass. So I'm like, that would be interesting. So that and hunting possibilities there is just endless. Um, that ground's going to be good for upland game birds, deer, of course. Probably there's some turkey running around in there someplace. Small game, because I did see some squirrels running around. So you're gonna have a small game up there. So almost everything except for bear, you could probably hunt in Hillman. And when I say that, I'm sure there's coyote in there. And coyote here in Pennsylvania, I think it's still, as long as you have a license, you can shoot them year round on sun and twice on Sundays if you wanted to. Um, trying to think. Well, in the citrus coyotes, are if you're into trapping, the possibilities for trapping are good too. This is the wrong time of year. Plus, we're coming out of a major cold snap, so I didn't see any like raccoon or possum or fox tracks, but I'm sure they're probably running around there as well. So there's that. Um, some of the other things, like with the mountain bike, I don't think I'll be taking a mountain bike there. The other thing with the ponds, though, the ponds are big enough. The ones I was looking at, the one don't think I'm going to mess around with because it looks like it's an old beaver dam about ready to give way, and that doesn't fill me with too much confidence at all. But the other ponds are big enough to put a kayak on. So I'm like, can I get my kayak on it? Okay, I can fish in. Now can I put my kayak on it? Because the recreation guide doesn't say anything about um, fishing there, just hunting and trapping and hiking and all the other happy stuff. In fact, I'm going to double check that here real quick. So there's, as I said, your recreation activities there, even though there's not that much going on there, are pretty much, I won't say limitless, but you have a ton of things you can do there. And I'm probably still just scratching the surface. It just says hunting and firearms. It doesn't say anything that there's anything in the ponds. But as I said, I want to talk to raccoons just to see what they say because I did see some lures in those ponds too. So not lures, but old bobbers, which leads me to believe that there are fish. But as I said, I want to double check with raccoons. Like, yeah, what kind of fish are up there? If they say like bluegill or whatever, I'm like, okay, whatever. See, the thing is I can't eat fish. I'm allergic to them, so I'll straight out say it. I'm a sport fisher. If I can handle them. I can't eat them. So if I can't eat them, and I'm not in a survival situation with somebody else who can, I'm going to sport fish because just sitting there wasting my time catching bluegills, I can't eat them anyway. So I'm going to be throwing them back. So I want to go after the big stuff. Now, I did find one little tiny, I wouldn't say little tiny, but I found one piece of human habitation or evidence that humans were there before it was a park. Well, we know they were since like 1969 when it was, or before 1969 anyway. I did find one telephone pole out in the middle of nowhere. One. Just one. So I kind of want to go back there if I go back into the same area And if I can get down to it, one of the things I did find out with Hillman is many of the areas, if you try going off the trail, it is thick. I don't mean just a little bit here, a little bit there. It is thick. There's places I was walking that's so thick on either side of the trail that it's like you're walking through a hallway. You, and it's not just trees and branches and stuff. It is brambles and thorns and stuff that hurts. I'm sort of looking. I'm like, no, 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 no way. So there's a lot of thick stuff in there too. So if you do want to go off the trail, you kind of have to be picky and choosy. Like on Abbey's Trail, when I was going through all the pines, though, you can go off the trail. It's fairly clear underneath the pines. Is when you get into the deciduous or the mixed, that things kind of start really closing in. I won't say closing in, but starts thickening up on you. In fact, there's one of the pictures. If you watch the video, there's one of the pictures I took of one of the thick areas, and that was actually comparatively thin as opposed to some of the stuff I passed later. I mean, there's no leaves on the trees, and it's so thick that there's still ice on the ground because the sun can't penetrate it. And most of these places that are thick, like Abbey's Trail, I think the reason it wasn't so thick on Abbey's Trail until you start getting out close to the clearings is it's a single track, and that big canopy of pines kind of helps that. When you come off the single track, you start going into that mixed deciduous, not deciduous, but coniferous. That's what the Abbey's Trail is, the pine trees. When you go into the deciduous coniferous mixed areas, and there's a wider road there, so more sunlight can get down into it, depending on the time of year. And since more sunlight can get into it on that time of year, and it's wider, it's going to grow thicker, and that's where you're going to. I did see a lot of blueberries though, so I'm like, yeah, maybe go up there during blueberry season and start picking stuff. But that's another thing I want to do while I'm up. While when I go back there is I want to go. I want to take my Peterson's book with me, which I have right here. Field Guide to Medicinal Plants and Herbs, and see what I can find up there. I'm sure I should be able to find something. Like I found some stuff in Moraine I didn't think I was going to find in this state, but I found it there. Like in this state, it's either not even supposed to be here. I won't say it's not supposed to be here, but it's extremely rare. At Moraine State Park, I found rattlesnake plantain, which is, in Pennsylvania is supposedly very rare. You don't find it. If you do, find a little flower here, a little flower there. Well, there's spots in Moraine State Park where I was finding this stuff in 20-foot wide mats. Not just a little bit here, a little bit there. I mean, it's grown like this thick, and it's just like a 20 by 20 foot square solid. So yeah, I should be able to get some of that stuff. Spotted Pacifica I found up there too, and I found that in a pretty decent abundance as well. But I want to go back to Hillman, see if I can find out not Hillman. So because the blueberry leaves, I have to look back in the book to see what all it does. But blueberry is medicinal. The leaves, the berries, I believe, are medicinal. A couple of I didn't really see anything else other than the blueberry because I recognized those. Everything else is like dead, laying down and tangled up with each other, so you don't really know what's what. But once things start to sprout again, start turning green again, I want to go back out in there and see if I can start identifying stuff here and there. As I said before, I want to keep an eye, see what kind of animal sign I can find. And with the animal sign, I should be able to figure out where I want to set for taking pictures of them. So, second thing I'm going to do out there. Third thing I'm going to do out there is I was going to kind of play around with geology of the area, but since it's kind of like a reclaimed strip mine, it's all disturbed. I won't say disturbed, but it's changed, and stuff's been moved around so much that you don't really know what's what. So it wouldn't be the best place to do that. But thinking what I can study is the trees, because a lot of those trees were planted there. So since a lot of those trees are planted there, they're not exactly native. Like a lot of this, I think they may have actually pulled some stuff from Raccoon because there's like a lot of trees there that I've seen at Raccoon that aren't exactly native to Raccoon either, which is red pine. And I'm trying to think what that other pine is because there's three needles instead of two, but it's not red pine, it's something else. Whether is well, I'm not even going to speculate what it was, but since that is there, a good fatwood resource, so I'm going to try to gather some resources as well. That the coal, maybe some lengths of aspen for other projects around here that I'd like to try. Because I have no aspen here, no aspen, no tulip poplar here at all. I'll find some leaves back there, but they're coming off of another property that I do not have access to. Um, Back when the Conservation Corps used to be around, they would bring trees from or seedlings from out west. Conservation Corps planted a ton of red pine, which you can find it all over the state now, but it wasn't originally native to the state. They brought a lot of red pine from out west, mostly like California, Washington, Oregon area, and planted it here, and it took off like wildfire. Um, the campsite that we were in at Raccoon when I did my meetup in 2019 was the whole inside of it was red pine. So if you needed fatwood, and there's needles all over the place, which are just filled with resin. Red pine is probably one. All pines have fatwood in it, but red pine is probably the best that you're going to find because it's smells well. It all smells like turpentine, but this stuff goes up like that because we're just kind of taking some of that, processing some of those needles down, hit it with a ferro rod, and they would just go woof like that. So those resins are that's the flammable part of it. Those resins will light a fire quicker than you can sneeze. Yeah, but I see a lot of potential here because I definitely want to go out hiking again. And with all those miles, I think I should be able to make a nice little training loop out there if I could get down there like once a month. Um, Once it dries up, my woods right now is it's not exactly ankle deep right now for like a train to use my training loop, but it's not exactly dry either. And I understand you're going to hike in some stuff like that, but I don't want to chew it up. Let's put it that way. It's soft enough to the point that if I kept walking on it, I'm just going to chew it up and make it a road. So I want to let it firm itself back up before I start using that again. But some of the area out there I think would be very good for training hikes, along with a couple other places. Because what I decided is if I'm going to go out and I'm going to hike in an area, whether it be a loop hike, out and back, or what they call balloon style, which is you go out to a point and then you go around and you come back down, um, or any hybrid thereof. I want to keep it at a minimum of 3 to 5 miles, depending on how big of a loop it is. Um, Sometimes I'm gonna be able to hit, sometimes I'm not. But sorry about that. But the reason I kind of leaving it in there is that kind of gives me a little bit of wiggle room. Um, There are some parks and some places I go to that you can either do like a 2.5 to 3 mile loop. After that, if you want to try and make a loop after that, and you're going from like a 2 miles to almost 15 miles because nothing really loops around. It goes off this way, you have to the road, and it's not the one that goes out and comes back isn't long enough to make 2 miles, let alone anything else. So you have to kind of go out, hit a road, walk over to this trail, walk this trail ways, and it's only about 3/4 of a mile long. So this has a lot of different loops in it. So I should be able to make something out of it. So I hope you guys learned something anyway, because I'm just kind of sitting and rambling on about the same stuff. But the more I talk, the more I find stuff to talk about. Um, One thing I did notice, and they didn't really say anything, and this would be a Sunday here in Pennsylvania because it's a game land. So over the winter, most of the winter anyway, just only on Sundays when there's not much going on there. That area would also be a very good area to go cross country skiing because it's not straight up, not straight down. You kind of got that rolling, so you can kind of coast down, go across the bottom, climb the other side. So cross country skiing, I think, would be a very good thing to do there as well. Or snowshoeing if we actually get enough snow. Well, yeah, actually, we didn't even have enough snow to do that, but snowshoeing would be another thing. Now, the one thing you cannot use on the trails in this park is anything motorized. No motorcycles. Didn't say anything about e-bikes, but I would tend to say no. No snowmobiles, no quads, no side by sides, nothing like that. Which is fine by me, which that's less I got to deal with. Nothing's more infuriating when you're trying to line up a shot on something, and then here comes some yahoo come barreling out of the woods with a side by side, half drunk, scaring your stuff off. Did we scare what you're trying to shoot at? No, you didn't. No. Just go away, please. Sorry, I was fixing my pant leg here. um, yeah, so a lot of there's a lot of stuff to do there. Not many amenities, like I said before. Don't let that stop you. In fact, that's one thing everybody should know how to do. Not trying to sound sick. You should know how to poop in the woods. Just saying. But yeah, I think we only got about 2 minutes left here. I'm still trying to come up with a subject for next week, but I'll come up with something. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do. Maybe go over some camera gear that I carry. Well, maybe not. That's actually I'd rather not show people exactly what I use anyway. Not on here, so people are like, oh, I know what he has now. Yeah, that's a bad idea. But I may go over some places that I'm planning on shooting and what I'm going to shoot while I'm there. Like the one thing I look for in state parks is waterfalls. I don't believe this has any waterfalls in it. I really have to find some good flowing water to find those, and I didn't find that. Not where I was at anyway. May want to look at the map one more time. May want to look at Google Earth one more time, but I don't think that's going to be there. McCollum's Mills, they're all over the place. Moraine State Park, I think there's like one or two in there. You just have to know where to look. If not, there's a bunch of creeks though. Other things to shoot other than waterfalls is the waterfowl. There's a ton of waterfowl there. So yeah, I think we may just do that next week. I may talk about some of the things I want to shoot this year. I do wanted to I do want to do the barrel races as well, but I'm going to be doing that on a select schedule. I think what I'm going to do is I may shift gears a little bit, try to find my passion. I talked about that in the video too. I kind of went through a little bit of a depression and kind of lost my passion for everything. I didn't. Last Saturday was the first time I touched that camera in 3 months. I'm supposed to be a photographer. I didn't even touch a camera for 3 months. That's how depressed I was getting. So I'm kind of re-energizing myself, kind of refocusing myself. I may go off in a different direction. I may stay in the direction. Um, Especially when it comes to photography, I have a couple friends who are not big time models, but they're models. So I may actually try shooting them a little bit. They agreed to let me practice shooting humans. That's one thing I never was good at ever. Um, you show me a landscape, animals, drag race, tractor pull, barrel race, anything like that. I'm right at home. I know what to do. I know what to look for. That's what I do. You throw a human up in front of me, I just sit there like, because I don't even know where to start. So this is kind of a learning process for me. But yeah, I think we'll talk about that a little bit next week. So, but that's all I have for you tonight. I know I kind of stammered on, but as I said, the more I talked about the place, the more I found to talk about. So you all have a good night. I thank you for coming. Love you all. See you next Tuesday. That didn't come out right. Oh, I'll see you at the next live stream. How about that? Night, folks.